Welcome to another Making Browser Games tutorial video. I just wanted to continue with where we left off with that last video. In the last video, I covered CSS code. That's what allowed what we see here with different fonts, different font sizes, different font colors, and CSS code, like I've said many times, is what you use to stylize your web page. But what I want to do is I want to continue at teach you a little more CSS, and then we're only going to have one other video that's going to be over improving the rock, paper, scissors game. Then we're going to finally move on to a different game project. So there's a few more CSS concepts I wanted to show today. In particular, I wanted to show background colors. So I want to add a background color just for this header tag right here, which is H1, I believe. Yes, it is H1. Like I said, there's H1 through 6, which are in different sizes. This is H1. So I want to add a background color to this and make it look like it's highlighted, kind of like what I just did. To add a background color to any element, what you can do is you can just type in, as a new CSS rule, background dash color, and then you can type in the color that you want, and I'll put yellow just to start. And again, remember, a CSS rule is just one of these. There's a property that you're editing, and then a value that you're setting it to, like that. And it always, the property and the value are separated by a colon, and then the CSS rules themselves are separated by semicolons, like that. So I'm going to refresh the page here, and now I get this yellow color. It looks like the rock, paper, scissors game was actually highlighted. It looks like these words were highlighted here. And while I'm at it, I may as well teach how to text align text or how to center text, because now that this is highlighted, it would look really cool if this rock, paper, scissors title was in the middle. That would make the web page look much cooler. And I wasn't planning on showing that, but it would look much better that way. So to center text, what you do is, and I'm once again going to type that for H1, I'm going to say text align colon center, like that. And that will move your text to the middle of the page there. And of course, the other values are text align left and then text align right. Though I've personally have never used text align right. I need to type it back to center. And now our rock, paper, scissors website has this really nice looking title here, and I'm pretty happy with that. That's how you do text align, and that's how you do a background color. You can also have a background color for this paragraph tag here. So I can type background color cyan, something crazy like that. And we get all these colors here on the screen. I just wanted to review again something I mentioned in the last video. If you don't know the specific word for the color you want, you can always just type RGB, that stands for red, green, blue. Then you're going to add 2 parentheses, and inside of these parentheses, you're going to put 3 different numbers. All of these numbers have to be on a scale of 0 to 255, with 0 being none of that color, and 255 being all of that color. So if I put 255, comma, 255, comma, 255, I'm asking for full red, full green, for full blue in that order, because it's RGB, not RBG, not GRB, it's RGB. So if I actually set the background color to 255, 255, 255, I would get white, which is actually what it is by default. If I put 0, 0, 0, that means no red, no green, no blue, and as you can guess, that would just be black, like that. So what's really nice about CSS is most of the time, you can just type in a word, and then the word will be rendered on the screen for your color. But if that ever fails, just remember you can use RGB and 3 different arguments here. And keep in mind, there's 2 parentheses because this is basically like a function or a command. Remember in our JavaScript, I taught different commands or functions. They have 2 parentheses. If there's an opening one, there must be a closing one. That's the same with RGB here. So if I want a background of, how do you get cyan here? I think it would be no. It would be 0 red, fully green, fully blue. And that would get cyan. Now I'm going to type the word cyan and see if we get a difference. And we shouldn't. Refresh. It's the exact same. But that's just a reminder that that's what you can use if you don't have the specific word. Now moving on from that, what if you wanted a background color for the whole web page? As you can see, even if I made both of these background colors yellow for both the H1 and the paragraph, there's still a whole lot of this web page that is not in yellow. So what if I wanted the entire web page to have the background color of yellow? I could do that by, instead of adding a CSS rule to these, CSS rule, excuse me, I can add a CSS rule to this body HTML tag here. Because remember, the body is basically the website as a whole. Anything you put inside of the body is going to be a part of your web page. But this, you can think of it as the website as a whole, this whole page. So I can type in here, style equals the exact same thing that we did before. Add a CSS rule in here, background dash color, colon, and then yellow. And I may as well delete these other two background color. Nah, I'll leave it. I'll leave it. When I refresh the page, now the entire page has a yellow background, which looks really bad. So I'm going to change this to light gray, like that. Oh, I changed the wrong one. I changed H1 to light gray. I actually want to leave, and I changed text align to light gray. That makes a whole lot of sense. No, I'm gonna keep the H1 background color as yellow because I really liked how that looked. I'm gonna get rid of the paragraph background color because I didn't care what that looked like. But I'm gonna change this, the body background color, to light gray, like that. And now we get what I'm pretty satisfied with for this web page. We have a fully light gray background color for the entire rest of the page, but the H1 has its own yellow background color, which kind of overrides the main background color, and the paragraph doesn't have a background color. And I'm pretty satisfied with this. This is, even though we're still playing the game entirely from this console here, it still looks a lot better than what it used to when this page was completely blank. Now I just want to show one last concept, how to put different elements in boxes using CSS and a little bit of HTML. So say I wanted this paragraph, the instructions, we'll just call this the instructions. I'm going to make it look more like instructions, so I'm going to type in, instead of thank you for playing rock, paper, scissors, no, I'll leave it. But this is basically our instructions paragraph tag here, and I want it to be in a nice box. I can use CSS to put it in a box by saying border, colon, and then now border is one CSS attribute. That's probably not the correct official word, but it makes sense, attribute value. So this is the attribute, but when I type in the value, I need three different things. I'm going to specify a line to go around this whole paragraph tag. So first, I need to say how thick the line is. I want the line to be 1 pixel thick. I want the line to be a solid line, and we'll see other options there later. And I want the line to be red. So border is the attribute, and I'm using three different values to specify what the border will be. When I refresh, I do get this red line that surrounds the paragraph tag like that. Now let me show you some different options. I can make the line a little bit thicker. I can change the color. And instead of solid, I can try dotted. And when I run that, the line doesn't look doesn't look thicker at all. I'm going to change this to 6 pixels, see if that, okay, there we go. So the line is thicker, it is dotted and not solid, and the color of those dots is cyan. And remember, colors, you can replace this with RGB, and then 0, 255, 255. It works anywhere you need a color, you can just replace it with RGB like that, and you're going to get the same thing. Now let me show another option. I'll make it 4 pixels. Instead of solid or dotted, I will make it dashed, and I will make it a solid, let's see, let's make it whatever this color is. I think that's magenta, so let's do this one instead. 255, 255, 0. And that's actually yellow. So I have a dashed line. Notice it's not dots, it's little squares, it's little lines. And the line is not so thin, and it is yellow. So those are different ways to put boxes around your HTML elements, and you can do this with any element. I could do it with these header at the top, border 2 pixels, red, solid red, like that. And I have a line around rock, paper, scissors. I actually like how that works. So this dashed line I'm going to get rid of, but this red line around the header, I like how that works, how that looks, so I'm going to keep it. But I'm going to get rid of this one. But before I do, notice that there's still, it doesn't really look like this is in a box, even though we added a box around the paragraph. It still looks like that there is no space around this paragraph tag. It doesn't really look like a true box. So let me teach you how you can really make it look like this is inside a box, besides putting color around it. What I can actually do, and I'm going to delete this CSS rule, so it's back to normal. What I can do to really make this instruction set look like it's in a box is I can put it inside another HTML tag called a div, which is short for divider. Oh, and you might have actually saw this earlier. I forgot to delete it when I was recording this video earlier. So opening div, closing div. And inside of it is that paragraph tag here. Div just means divider, but you can think of it as like a box that you're putting things inside of, and you're using this box to separate this HTML from the other HTML. In this div, I can give this div a style, and I'm going to give this div the border 4 pixels dotted cyan, like that. Oh, and I made a mistake because nothing happened. What mistake did I make? Style, oh, I need style equals, like that. And now notice by using a div, there's already a lot more space here, so it looks a little bit more like a box. And what's cool about a div is you can give it all those other CSS rules you learned. I can give it a background color of white, like that. So now the background color is white, and it has a dotted blue line. But most importantly, I can set its width and height. I can set its width to be 300 pixels, its height to be 300 pixels. And this is really what's cool about div, because now, by forcing it to be 300 by 300 pixels, I have what really looks like a box here. And notice the paragraph is not allowed to leave that box. It has to stay within the box, which is why it spans multiple lines here. So this is way better than just adding a border, inside of the CSS for the paragraph. Now by using a div, there's a lot more space and you got a lot more flexibility using the width and height like this. And so that concludes this video on CSS. I don't think I'll be teaching more CSS in quite a bit since this is the basics and really all I care to cover for this game dev series. We'll see if I go over more. The next video is going to be one final improvement to the rock, paper, scissors game, and then we're going to move on to other projects. Thank you for watching.